Job losses, protests present difficulties for Chinese Communist Party. July 29, 2024. Job losses and wage cuts from China's economic downturn are hitting key industries, according to the South China Morning Post, and the analysts say the situation could lead to political difficulties for the ruling Chinese Communist Party, CCP. Rights groups say the situation has triggered a sharp increase in protests and strikes around the country, not enough to threaten the rule of the CCP for President Xi Jinping, but enough that an analyst sees a hidden danger for Chinese authorities unless they can rejuvenate the economy. China's gross domestic product, GDP, growth rate has been dropping since hitting 10.6% in 2010, well before the COVID pandemic, which cut growth to 2.2% in 2020, according to the World Bank. The global lender says growth bounced back to 8.4% in 2021, but then fell to 3% in 2022, before a moderate recovery to 5.2% in 2023. The World Bank expects China's growth rate to drop back below 5% this year. Several Chinese workers VOA talked with said they were unprepared for the economy to slow so quickly. According to the South Morning China Post's SCMP July analysis of the annual reports of 23 top Chinese companies, 14 of them carried out large layoffs in 2023, with technologies and real estate companies among the worst hit amid a glut of empty buildings. The online newspaper reports that one company, Poly Real Estate, laid off 16.3% of its workforce in the past year, or 11,000 people. Greenland Holdings, a Shanghai-based real estate company, also saw a 14.5% drop in the number of its employees. The SCMP reports online retail giant Alibaba cut 12.8% of its workforce, or about 20,000 jobs, in the 2023 fiscal year, while technology conglomerate Tencent's headcount fell 2.8% in 2023 to about 3,000, and in the first quarter of 2024, the company laid off another 630 people. China's National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, is painting a rosier picture this month, calling employment and the national economy are generally stable and citing a steady progress in June. It showed only a 0.2% drop in urban jobs compared with the same period last year. The NBS also claimed China's lowest youth unemployment rate this year, 13.2%, after it removed students from the calculation. The new methodology was introduced after China hit a record high 21.3% youth unemployment in June 2023, prompting authorities to suspend publication of the statistic. Chen Yingxian, a policy analyst at the Taiwan Institute of National Defense and Security Studies who specializes in Chinese unemployment, tells VOA that Beijing's job worries have shifted from fresh graduates and the working class to middle class and senior managers. She says many have faced salary cuts or layoffs to reduce costs and increase efficiencies as China struggles with a weak housing market, sluggish consumption, high government debt, foreign investment withdrawals and trade barriers. Even peoples with relatively stable incomes, such as workers at state-owned enterprises, are feeling the pinch. In July, China's 31 provincial levels administrative regions issued regulations calling for party and government organs to live a tight life, focusing on budget cuts and reductions in public spending. Analysts say our further job and wage cuts could lead to intensified protests and strikes, leading to greater instability. Rights group China Labor Bulletin, CLB, in 2023 accounted for 1,794 strike incidents in China, more than double the number in 2022. In the past 6 months alone, the group documented about 1,200 incidents in protest of the wage cuts, unpaid wages, unforeseen layoffs, and unfair compensation, a more than 50% increase from the same period in 2023. CLB estimates are only 5% to 10% of all collective actions of workers have been recorded, suggesting many more protests are taking place. But Chen of the Taiwan Institute of National Defense and Security Studies says the wage cuts and unemployment have not yet been severe enough to spark large-scale protests that threaten the power of the ruling party or President Xi. Although there has been an increase in protests, they are still relatively sporadic. There are no large-scale incidents, and local governments can easily quell them, she says. So, for the legitimacies of the CCP and Xi's third term, it is more of a hidden danger than an imminent crisis. While protests in China are usually by working-class people, Wang notes the economic pain is spreading to other more influential groups. Whether for blue-collar, white-collar, or even gold-collar workers, the economic losses are now very large, says Wang. The worse the economy, and the more emergencies there are, the more the CCP will suppress it with high pressure. It's a vicious circle where people suffer more and stability is more costly. Meanwhile, analysts say Chinese authorities are struggling to come up with a plan to reverse the unemployment and wage-cutting trend. The communiqué of the third plenary session of the 20th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, released on July 18, mentioned the employment only once, saying it is necessary to improve the income distribution system and the employment priority policy.